Hey folks, my name is Navarro and I am pleased to be your host for Culinary Connections Distribution Dialogues, where we dive into the heart of the food service industry, really giving you an inside look at what happens behind the scenes, both as a brand or as a distributor. Unlock exclusive insights, captivating stories, and cutting-edge sales and marketing strategies that both brands and distributors are leveraging in today's rapidly evolving realm of food consumption and digital content. Stay at the forefront of industry trends, innovations as we connect with artisans, disruptors, innovators, and leaders in the food service distribution space. Tune in for a front row seat to the pulse of culinary commerce, where with every episode we explore the ever-changing business of food. There really isn't anything for professionals in our industry to turn to for guidance, advice, and real talk. There is now. This podcast is for those thirsty to learn more about what's going on in the world of distribution. I'm super excited to bring to you this podcast. I hope y'all enjoy. Welcome to the Navarro Culinary Connections studio, headquartered in Denver, Colorado. We have our inaugural podcast of Distribution Dialogue Culinary Connections with Ben Walker, recently announced, the Chief Revenue Officer of Baldor Foods, based out of New York, New York. We are privileged to have you. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, well, as an outsider in the industry, being in distribution, I think I share the sentiment with many people that Baldor is viewed as the premier distributor in North America. And if you're in North America, it's likely the world. And there's so many conversations I've had with distributors and food service professionals across the country that Baldor's name gets mentioned all the time. And as, you know, just it is the Yankees, the Neiman Marcus, the premier brand in distribution. And so it's a privilege to have you. For those that don't know anything about Baldor, why don't you give us kind of the quick and dirty about who you are and what you guys do for customers?
Happy to, and thanks for the kind words. It's great to be. It's great to sit back and hear people say things like that, because coming into work and hustling every day, you don't really necessarily know how the rest of the country perceives you. You're only as good as your last delivery, right? So hear you say that, I really appreciate it. A little bit of context on who Baldor Specialty Foods is. For those of you who are familiar with the Balducci store, we were actually born out of a gourmet store named Balducci's in Greenwich Village that became very popular in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The name Baldor is actually from Balducci Doria. Doria was another family that was involved with the grocery store. We ran a wholesale arm out of the back of the store, and it was a near disaster, right? Selling to chefs in a grocery store in a setting, wanting terms, wiping you out of your chanterelles and your broccoli rabe when it was new at the time, wasn't a good mix. So Andy Balducci looked at his son-in-law, Kevin Murphy, in 1991, said, take the van, take Eddie, who's still with us now. Eddie was the head of transportation at the time, and take Baldor out on the road and see what you can do with it. So fast forward now 33 years, we are 4 distribution centers, about 2,500 employees, over 400 trucks, 15,000 customers from Portland, Maine to Richmond, Virginia. We made our mark in produce. Up until about 10 years ago, we were strictly produce. We went into the specialty grocery sector about 10 years ago, and now we're closing in on about 50% produce, 50% non-produce, which is composed of dairy, grocery, meat, and seafood. So we want to be, a full catalog provider. We don't like to use the word broadliner. We really play in the high-end niche, ultra transparent, ultra high quality. Really pride ourselves with service, and yeah.
Amazing. For those tuning in, one of the things I think for myself that I've really worked hard in my career is networking and trying to find a way to better my career and develop myself. And oftentimes within independent distribution, we don't have the luxury of just having intensive training programs. And when you're limited to 4 DCs, right, like you only understand what's within your organization. So I always wanted to try to cultivate my network with other thought leaders, which is Ben and I connected, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, and we've maintained contact. And, whenever we had an idea or maybe a potential product that have you heard of this, or what's working over in New York could potentially work in the Southeast. And, I tried to build a network of people that I could grow with. And I would look at the industry. A lot of my friends who are accountants or lawyers, there's a lot of professional organizations that help cultivate, yourself as a professional. And I found that the food service distribution network really just didn't offer that. And so it's been great keeping up with Ben and learning and watching from afar, seeing you guys grow. And for me, this podcast is important for the person that's the next Ben Walker, the next Ian, who is early in their career, that's the street salesperson, knocking on the doors, trying to figure out, who am I in the next 15, 20 years? And I don't think you go to college or when you're in high school and you say, I'm going to be in distribution. That's something that I'm going to get into. And it's been a career that has brought a lot to me and my family, and it's opened the eyes to me of how food gets to the table. And it's so exciting to go to a restaurant and when you're able to know that you've had a hand in putting product on that menu, and the dynamic of how the chef orders and what happens at the warehouse, it's something that's hard to replace. And then even when you go to a retailer and you look and you see the product on the shelf at the retailer, and you think to yourself, I know the owner of that farm, I've been there. And just creating that connection has been super great to me. And that's, I wanted to bring stories that from you to others on how to better themselves in their career. So, talk to us a little bit about how you started your journey in distribution, and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, happy to. Well, like you, Ian, we've always been in love with food, right? And typically as a young kid, you want to have a restaurant and, you want to be a chef. And I almost went down that career, but decided to get a traditional undergraduate degree first, went to Ohio State, go Bucks, and had a great 4 years there. Over my summers, I worked at my favorite restaurant growing up, Houston's or Hillstone, for many of you who know it. Just one of the best in class operators out there. Fell in love with New York and the energy and the vibrancy of the hospitality industry. Wasn't too satisfied with the grocery store chain, and at the same time, this little company was starting up called Fresh Direct, online food e-tailer. And this is just during the .com explosion, and I was like, I was on a fifth story walk up, ordered my first order, and opened the first box, and there's this giant chocolate chip cookie in there that says, "Thank you for your first order." And I just had this epiphany that this was going to be a disruptive industry. People ordering their food online, getting it delivered, with the data and recommendations and customization that a digital experience could bring, I knew was going to be the future. So went back, finished up school, stuck my way into Fresh Direct, had an amazing 5 years there. Startup culture, you get to do everything, a little bit of marketing, creative, operations, R&D, pricing, you name it. So really cut my teeth there. And while managing prepared foods and doing some produce for them, I met this company called Baldor. And they were my best supplier. They came to me twice a day. They custom chopped all my fruits and veggies for my kitchens and for some of our retail lines. Met TJ Murphy, the owner's son at the time, started a relationship with him. And, when it was time for me to think about, my next chapter, I knew that Baldor, with that amazing dedication to service and quality, but they were lacking on the branding and digitization and all those things we did really well at Fresh Direct. So, spoke to TJ over many years, and eventually When his father got sick in 2012, he called me up and twisted my arm, and I've been at Baldor ever since.
Amazing. So, kind of talking a little bit about disruption, innovation. Again, Baldor is viewed, at the pinnacle of distribution. Um, what's the mindset within Baldor when it comes to, going to market, um, offering, products and services to customers, right? And in the New York market, and all the markets that you serve along the East Coast, those are arguably some of the most competitive markets in the world to sell food. You've got a ton of choices when it is, like if I wanted to buy lemons, limes, insert the particular product that live within the walls of Baldor. How are you guys working to message, curate the product mix and the message to the customer? What's important, and what are you guys thinking about?
Where we started is very different than where we are today. There was, we're across from, Hunts Point Terminal Market. There's hundreds of food distributors that were operating, during our early days. And, a lot of things back in, the early 90s, late 80s, people went and they picked up their food. Kevin, our founder, companies that he looked up to was actually FedEx and UPS. And he saw an opportunity in the market that didn't see, a very sophisticated, polished delivery food distributor that stood for quality and service. And, he being one of the most motivated, hungry, passionate founders, I think probably, in this industry's existence, just out hustled everybody and didn't take no for an answer, and woke up earlier, got to customers first, in full. We were the first to do computer generated invoicing. So we always look to do things differently. We look to do things faster and better with great quality and service. Our people has always been a big differentiator for us. Hiring amazing salespeople that know how to relate to chefs, who chefs want to work with. And, with the right people, a chef's going to give you a shot if you ask for a shot, right? You got to know how not to bite off more than you can chew. And you're gonna win volume and business over time by servicing the customer. And that's been our philosophy since day one. As we built scale, it allowed us to have a little bit more fun. It allowed us to differentiate our offerings. It allowed for us to invest in our digital platforms, which I think really helped open up Baldor beyond just a produce company. That really allowed us to communicate our sources and what makes farms special, to really talk about why this berry is 3 times the price of this berry, and really help us curate and really, what I think is what I know is my favorite part of this job is discovering the ingredients that get us excited, messaging those to our chefs and customers, because that's what we do, right? We're given the paint to an artist to be able to paint a beautiful picture. Our job is just to figure out how to tell them the different paint colors that exist and get it to them when they need it. So it's changed along the way, and but I think it all comes back to, do what you say you're going to do, service the client. And, I think that's why people choose Baldor first, is because we just out-service everybody. We take an order up until midnight for early drop the next day, 6,000 orders on our website. Extremely low minimums, also, a lot of the same ingredients that made you successful in your prior roles. It's not rocket science, but you gotta be hungry. You gotta fight for it, and you gotta hustle.
Yeah, I'd agree. The service component, I think, is the key part, because, let's just say Baldor wanted to move to Seattle, right, and put an outpost in Seattle. The reality is there's really good companies out there that are serving restaurants right now. And I think when you're looking at acquisitions or organic growth, is what's the purpose, what's the value proposition you're bringing to the customer? Because we could buy man packing lettuce from many different people. sun-kissed lemons. You insert the product. It's what are you doing to serve the customer? And as you know, in distribution, nothing is perfect. There's going to be a truck that arrives late. There's going to be seasonality that comes to play, shortages. The truck gets hit by a train. Like, there's just so many things that happen when you're trying to serve the customer. And I would openly tell customers all the time, if you're looking for a perfect company, we're not the perfect company, because we're going to make a mistake. But it's how we respond to the mistake that's going to, set ourselves apart from everybody else. And, one of those things, I think we both are in a world of maybe more digital mindset to enhance the customer experience, which has been a totally unconventional world for most food distributors. It's been very rep reliant. Everything is hand done, which, can decrease efficiencies, and we would, say a lot, we want companies to do business with the name on the wall or the truck, and not necessarily, I love Ben, but Ben moves to a different company, and now Ben gets all my business just because I love Ben, not necessarily the products and services. As you look to deploy digital strategies within distribution, what role does the salesperson have within your organization to cultivate relationship and drive sales when you do have a tool, essentially to help sell?
Yeah, and I come from a world where we didn't have salespeople, right? Fresh Direct, you had a website and people came and bought things, and you spent a lot of money on marketing, so it's been a real eye-opening experience to come here and just sit and watch. I didn't get into sales until, about 5-6 years ago at Baldor, and I got to see the power of human relationship. And there's nothing more powerful in a business transaction than the relationship itself. And, we had some amazing salespeople that had, mega books of business that everybody knew, and that they've been with us 15, 20 years. And I saw that, those individuals are really who helped us build this business. It's one door at a time, like I was saying earlier. And no website or digital platform is just gonna win you the business. It's gonna complement the business, but it starts with somebody. Asking for a shot, and you can sell the website and its transparency and all the bells and whistles, sure. But what our job is as a food service distributor is to make our restaurants and partners successful, and there needs to be someone at the helm of that partnership, and that's the sales executive. And we will never deviate from that. We're actually double downing our commitment to making sure we have the right number of folks on the road eating in our restaurant, spending time with our chefs and business partners. And no technology is going to change that. I think it actually will go the other way, especially as we become just immersed in technology from the morning we wake up until the time we go to bed. That people are going to be, those instruments that set you apart, and we're going to continue to double down in that area as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I think it's the technology isn't, looking to eliminate jobs. It's really to enhance that relationship and remove some of the burden that I think most people at this point in life, right? Whether you're online banking, you can pull your own, I want to see how much I spent from September to the end of September. You don't need to go into a bank. You don't need to call. You can do some self-help. And, I said earlier this week to someone, if you think about why people are calling into customer service or to your salesperson is, I need a credit. Where's my truck? What's the price on something? I'm ready to place an order. Or do you stock? Like, those are the 5 main reasons why traffic is congesting maybe your customer service line. And if you have the ability to provide some of the tools where I don't need to talk to someone, I just need a quick price on what Reggiano is, I can find it on my own. Does your customer service traffic decrease, allowing them to provide better service to your current customer base? There's nothing more frustrating as a customer, regardless of the industry, when you feel like you have to be off of the phone. They're just in a hurry to get you off to get to the next person. And so if you give resources to your team and your customers where they can provide that value on their own, your team can then provide value and find new menu opportunity that they can bring and present to the customer, as opposed to just very reactive in nature tasks. And historically, that's just the way the business has been. And it's, again, the standard, in my opinion, Baldor is set from a digitized online platform, but also the way that you guys go to market from a marketing standpoint, right? If you look at social, which for most distribution companies is a very complex thing. Heck, it's complex just as an individual. I'm not on Facebook. Now you got TikTok, you have LinkedIn, you have Instagram, you have Twitter. Where do you invest your time, and how do you do it? It's so complicated for so many people. When you look at the material that you guys produce in your content, to me, it's best in class. Walk through how that's kind of evolved and what the team mentality is and the approach to marketing in today's environment.
Sure. Well, I'll take you back, because we barely had a marketing team when I joined. We didn't even have, brand guidelines. We were a white truck on the road, and we were just a food distributor, right? There was no color to the brand and what we stood for and what we represented. So for me, I leaned real hard into creative. I'd spent about a year at a really amazing design forward company called fab.com, believe it or not. And we kind of took creative to an extreme in terms of loud color and just have fun. And when I came here, I brought some of the design folks with me, and I constantly challenged them to, get weird, have fun, do things different, right? No food distributor or produce company was thinking about how to, and this was in the early days of Instagram, how to engage users. So like, for instance, Sumo Citrus was brand new, and we dressed them up like sumo wrestlers, and we had them fight each other, and it was a short, Instagram, just to get people to start following us and just to get users and to show people that we were going to do things differently, that there was there's new youthfulness to the brand and the company. And it kind of just started to take off, and that turned into the website where I wanted, the cleanliness of the white, website, a Google type feel where you can find whatever you're looking for, but lean into the photography, lean into the ingredients, let those ingredients speak for themselves and tell a story. So content and creative has always been something really important for us, because it allows us to differentiate from just the truck on the road. And I think that allowed people to see us as more than just a produce company. It got us to show them all of our different farms and products, and that we were going to just do things differently in general. And I think it helped us set that disruptor mindset that I think we've become to be known as.
No question. And as a sales professional, having that backbone, it's already difficult to sell, but when you have the company creating brand awareness behind you, it helps. When you walk in with the Baldor vest on, right? Like, people are already interested because they have the brand recognition, as opposed to, hey, it's Ian with Ian's Produce Company. They want to talk to Chef about, getting the business. Does Ian's Produce Company have visibility? What's the value proposition there? But when the brand has been building the way that you guys have, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to go in and story tell the value you can bring to the customer through the products and services that are provided through it. Getting into that, I think, as a salesperson in general, or doing distribution in any market's challenging. What's it like to deliver in the most populated city in North America? Like, what are some of the things that you have to deal with that maybe someone that's delivering in Oklahoma City, they may not have to deal with?
Besides $1 million in parking tickets, lots of things. The Pope's in town. There's a parade. There's a sewer explosion, like you name it, you can't make it up. There's always constant challenges, and it's New York is our hometown, it's our headquarters, and it also the challenges that it has. It also brings you great density. We put over 100 trucks in the island of Manhattan a day. So a really small geographical landmass where you can build great density is also something that could be really special for a distributor, right, in terms of economics. But I think what's great about New York is there's so much diversity, there's so much appreciation and respect for high quality ingredients. You need to have top shelf service or you're just not going to survive here. So the demands from the market met exactly what we were trying to do. And if you what they say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And we bring that hustle everywhere. We went to Boston after New York. We had some very big customers bring us there. We had no interest in expanding, but we kind of got told we need you to come to Boston. So we've been there for almost 20 years now. Same thing happened in DC and Philadelphia, and we got some plans for doing more. So every city has its challenges, New York especially. But it's you bring that that grit and fire, and you figure it out, and you just gotta run faster than the people next to you.
How many texts from family members and friends do you get of a Baldor truck? Like, just saw your truck.
This, definitely a lot. I think hashtag Baldor spotted. I think people do it once or twice, and then they see a Baldor truck every day for the rest of their lives. It probably loses a little bit of excitement after because it feels like we're following you. But definitely, I feel like in my first 5 years here, I feel like I had no idea who Baldor was. And then, after a few years, we were growing in size, and you would say, I think I know what that is. People think that we're paying Fox and Friends because our truck is always perfectly positioned right outside at the right time. And you guys are such brilliant marketers. And how do you get that spot? At 7 a.m. And I'm like,
we have 100 trucks on the island.
Can't tell you all of our secrets, but yeah, a lot. Just good luck, And you happen to have a lot of good trucks out of there that have gotten some good publicity over the years.
Well, and again, going to loyalty and fandom, I think it's rare that we see chefs really cling to a distribution company. Nobody. Or few people on the culinary side want people to know who they use, right? That's like a secret of theirs. But Baldor's definitely built a huge fandom within the community. It's a cool brand that chefs and restaurant want to associate with. And if you follow Instagram, and who is Sussman's, who's got the account and always had, like, on a weekly basis has some kind of Baldor meme associated with it, and that's got to be a nice little sense of pride. I know sometimes it could be poking fun, but at the same time, I think the intentions are great, and there's a lot of loyalty there. Do you follow?
Oh yeah, Eli Sussman is he's built quite a following, and he's hilarious. If you don't follow him, you should. Luckily, I think we're on his good list more than his naughty list. So he's been a good ambassador of the brand. But yeah, we actually have a cool collaboration coming out with Eli here around our Baldor Bite event in April. So can't tell you all the secrets, but if you're in around New York on April 24th, come to Baldor Bite, and you have a chance to see a cool collab with Eli himself.
Well, I had that written down since we're on the topic. Baldor Bite is coming up in April. It is your spin on a food show. As someone that's executed food shows, I know how much effort and work it goes into hosting chefs and your vendors and showcasing all your products and bringing them to life. It's a difficult task, especially on an island like Manhattan. Give us a little glimpse of, like, what's the purpose of Bite? How do you curate it? What do you look to do to make it different? And, what are you looking forward to?
You know, back when I took on Bite, the mission was don't call it a food show, right? Because nobody needs another food show in their life. We pulled all of our money from being involved at fancy or restaurant shows and whatnot. We just didn't see the value. But kind of like the early years where we wanted to bring the brand along and do things differently and show that we're not just a distributor. Events are a great way to do that. We don't do a lot of them, and so when we do it, we want to go all out. Somehow we keep doubling the budget every single year. Last time we had over 3,000 people, and it's basically what is an event chefs and all foodies would want to go to, and it's essentially a big party. 200 of our vendors. We take creative lead on all the main sponsor booths so they can be built with style and really fun design and really keep it aesthetically pleasing. This year's theme is play with your food. So there's a giant caviar ball pit and a giant cheese shredder Klinko board. We had Massimo Bottura do keynote last time. We turned it into a big after party, food trucks, graffiti painting, you name it. So it's just get weird again, have fun, create an event that people would want to go to. And it's been a lot of fun. It also allows us to, take the brand to kind of some uncomfortable territories because it's just a one-day event. So you can see in our branding this year, it's very Lower East Side, street art vibe to it. So check out baldorfood.com/bite, BITE, and you'll get a sense for what we're all about.
Amazing. While we're on the topic of brands and you're hosting 200 brands and you have so many more that live within the portfolio, how does a brand effectively work within the Baldor system, add value to the sales team, the purchasers, or how do you get an attention of a buyer at Baldor, right? Like what have you seen as a recipe for success that if you're a brand listening and you want to get into distribution and you want to expand, what's the quick and dirty on how you can be effective in being an attractive resource and partner to somebody like you?
Well, first and foremost, you got to have a product that's exciting and differentiated, right? If you're gonna get the attention of a merchant or a category manager, it's got to be something that adds value to the end user or it's something new and exciting. If you check some of those boxes, you get past first base. To get to second and third base, you need to show how you're going to support the sale. You say this a lot, Ian, distributors are very busy. We have thousands of products from hundreds, if not thousands of farms and partners. We need partnership on the vendor and brand side as well. How are we going to hit the street, right? We can do some really cool marketing partnerships and some great, outreach in terms of email, social, website, you name it, targeting. But there needs to be commitment and really a team that's going to, help drive sales. Anchor accounts, right? Always show up to a distributor with volume, not just I have 10 emails of people that want to carry my product. Okay. Who are they? How much volume are they willing to commit to? Let's verify that. Let's look at that. So for us, especially for our top brands, we're looking for feet on the street. We like ride withs. We require ride withs with our sales team and our top partners. Education inside our locations to teach and to inspire our sales teams on why this product needs to get into our accounts. It has to be differentiated. Why is it good for us and the customer? How are you going to help me with economies of scale and velocity to get it off the ground? How are you going to help grow the business? And we really, we also, because I come from the marketing world here, we have a very powerful marketing partnership team. where we look to partner with brand. It's not, we don't do slotting fees. We don't require people to take on marketing partnerships, but we have a talented group of people that know how to look at the demographics of our customer base. Who does this item talk to? How do we do real targeted, sampling communication efforts? With commitment from the brand or partner and the right product, and that's been part of our secret sauce. And I think that's why people like working with us, is that we know how to slice through it and really help get products off the ground.
So another question on evolution of the brand and who you guys have become. I think a lot of companies have evolved through pandemic, right? Because you had to do things and that forced you very quickly in a time period to adapt to things that you probably would have taken you months to figure out or to implement, and in a short period you reacted and created something new. But what's something at Baldor that maybe didn't exist pre-pandemic that exists now? And is there any type of technology or innovation that, like, today you can't live without? You're just like, man, I freaking can't imagine if we didn't have this tool or this piece of equipment, how we would do our job.
Yeah, it's probably pretty basic or simple, but the power of Teams and Zoom. When you have an organization that's spread all over the globe, it really helps people connect. And we have all different chat groups and connectivity of salespeople talking back and forth, and it's really helped us connect our teams. We have sales and customer support now in Hawaii, and it's the 6-hour time zone difference. So their 9 to 5 is 3 o'clock to midnight, and we would never even entertain that pre-COVID. Get your ass in the office, got to be there, and it helped us allowed us to look at things differently, and helped us realize that people can do their job from a lot of different locations. We have all hands sales meetings now in an auditorium with cameras and microphones, and helps us bring some unity across all of our different locations. So I don't know what I would do without Teams. I wish I had some really cool equipment or hardware I could speak to, but I think connectivity and getting the teams to collaborate and continue to build good culture and energy is really what I think it's all about.
Where do you see the future of selling food service, right? It's 2029 in New York. What are you seeing? What are you hearing out there in regards to, evolution, technology of how we're going to market? And, are you guys investing in electric vehicles and, any type of new innovation that you guys are evaluating?
I think on the sales side, there's so much data, and with everyone's menu now online, and with the web scraping becoming cheaper and cheaper by the day, and engineering and just the power of what you can do from a data gathering and execution standpoint, it's going to be extremely easy for sales folks to go in prepared. This is the menu. We know the ingredients. We've already, here's your pricing. And a lot of people have that. Someone really sophisticated in the tech world told me just recently that the technology will become a commodity. We used technology in our platform to really differentiate ourselves from our competition. The competition has been catching up as technology has become cheaper and more readily available. And they said to me, you do the hard stuff really well. And the hard stuff is, you show up on time in full with a smiling, salesperson who's willing to roll up their sleeves and get behind the line if that's what it takes. But I think the way suggestive selling and information, we're going to make that really easy. Again, why I think that personal relationship is so important. I think loyalty programs will continue to roll out, right? How do we learn from the airlines, and how do we earn your loyalty by giving you better delivery times, better pricing, possibly more access to farm trips or whatnot. Electric will come, obviously. I think we have a little bit of time on that. I think we'll be talking a lot more about regenerative and sustainable farming. I think hopefully we're talking more about flavor and not just commodity product. So yeah, I'm excited, and I'm sure it's going to be completely different from what I just said. But like you were alluding to earlier, travel, talk to the people in your industry, and also talk to people outside your industry. There's a lot of different distribution companies and industries out there, from electronics and whatnot. Learn out there. Be curious. The sign on my desk when I got here was, there's no such thing as B2B or B2C. It's H to H, human to human. And I took a consumer retail lens to our website and what we wanted to do. And we all go through the same thought processes and how we purchase items, whether it's for your family or for your restaurant. We basically took an e-commerce model and applied it to food distribution. So I think we'll continue to keep our eyes open and see who's doing things in a different, interesting way, and hopefully continue to differentiate ourselves from the pack.
Amazing. We're coming up on time. A couple last questions is, one, what's a legacy you'd love to leave at Baldor when you walk away, whenever that time period is? What are you looking to achieve, and how do you want people to remember Ben?
That's a great question. It's interesting that you asked that today. It's our president, Michael Music's last day, and he's been with the organization 28 years. And if you're in the industry, you know who Michael Music is. He's a legend, a force to be reckoned with. He brings a bazooka to a
small
knife fight.
Small personality,
tiny personality. And he always says, no surrender, and he helped build this company and got it to a great place. And I'm gonna, in my role, I'm gonna do things differently than him. And and I hope when I hang up the cleats one day, I hope they see that I helped differentiate and bring food distribution and the way it's conducted to a different level. And I mean that is, we do it with swagger. We do it and have fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we do it right. We do what we say we're going to do. We have the best service levels in the industry. Continue to find the best value, but also we do our part in building a better planet and a better plate. We do that through flavor. We do that through supporting small local farms. We do that. We just flew down to a blueberry farm in Florida that Dan Barber let us know about. And the farmer told us that we saved the farm and we sold his whole crop last year. That's what we do. I hope we can figure out how to scale that. I think Baldor has the brand and ability to be all over the country. I hope I can help do that. I hope I can be one of the members that help bring Baldor to more people, and by helping more food producers along the way.
Amazing. Last question. How does Ben get inspired? What inspires you to, wake up and be the leader that you are and the innovator that you are? Is it a book? Is it a person? Is it a scenario? Is it a podcast? What fuels you to operate at the level that you operate?
That's a good question. I think I'm just ultra competitive. I played sports at a young age. I've always I've been on the outside looking in a lot, gotten picked over and got cut from varsity baseball, and I had to scrap my way into college, scrap my way into business school. And so, I think I've always had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, and I've always wanted to prove myself and win. And it's just fun. I feel like we play a big board game every day, and it's exciting to get up and figure out how to do it better each day. And, in business, you have a good scoreboard that shows your success and how you're doing. And I get a kick out of it. I'm having a blast. I've been here, 11 years, and no sign of me coming to any slowdown or stop here. And it just and I do it for our employees, and I do it for our customers. And we got 2,500 associates. That's 2,500 families that we're responsible for. So I need to help bring the edge and the inspiration and the ideas on what's going to keep us performing as a business, so all those families get to better their lives. And that's a lot of that's a tall order, And but hell, it's fun getting to do it, and I couldn't think of anything else I'd rather do.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that's a wrap for the first inaugural episode of the podcast, in hopes that this can be a resource to those looking to better themselves in distribution or just in food service in general. I think there's more similarities across the country if you're in the business than there are differences. And sometimes having the ear of a fellow peer across the country can be something that benefits you when you have a problem, or you're looking to, how do I ask my boss for a promotion, or what's my next career step? And I hope that the guests that we feature and what we talk about can be of value to those in the business, or if you just love food and you want kind of a backseat of what actually goes on in the industry, maybe we can shed some light on that. Ben, huge admiration to you and the whole team at Baldor. Thank you for taking a chance and being our first guest. We appreciate you.
And Ian, we appreciate you. Thank you for reaching out those many years ago and inviting this New York-based food distributor to Louisville, Kentucky to look under the hood. We learned a lot from that trip, and we respect your tenacity and your willingness to connect people. And we get stuck in our bubble, and you really take the phone call, answer that email, get to know people. We're all here to support each other, and always respected you for that. You've become a good friend over the years. I wish you all the best in your new role and with your new company. And thanks for having me on my first ever podcast. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Ian. Be well, man.
See you, buddy.
Cheers.